oriented programming. There are several languages that are available in this category, that is object oriented programming category language. Within that, we will study Java. So using Java, we will study how several object-oriented paradigms can be implemented. Okay, but before moving on to the actual implementation of Java program, we should know about the part that why we will study it. A little introduction to it, I have just provided you in our earlier class. That why from procedural language we will study the object-oriented programming language. Basically, there are two parts, two paradigms of any program. Okay, first one is the procedural programming language, and second one is the object-oriented programming language. Okay, these two part is very important, and you need to know about that part. That why these two paradigm is important for developing any problem or any application program. Okay, we all know that the all computer programs mainly contain of two part. We all will agree upon it. That is, there are two part. One is code and another is data. Okay, and a program can be conceptually organized around its code or around its data. Just minutely listen to my word. A program can be conceptually organized around its code or around its data. Basically, we all know that a program means this is a collection of code and data. Okay. Now, some programs are written around what is happening, and others are written around who is being affected. These two terms are very important. That is, what is happening around you and who is being affected by your code. Okay, these are the two paradigms that govern how a program is constructed. Okay, the first one, that means the what is happening. These paradigms begins that the procedural programming approach. Okay, but whenever we will study about the next approach, that is who is being affected, then we are talking about the object oriented approach. In case of this process oriented approach, this approach actually characterizes a program as a series of linear steps, that is nothing but the code. The process oriented or procedural programming approach can be thought of as a, that is, code acting on data, the source code that is acting on data. Okay, so procedural language such as C, this employ this method to considerable success that you have already learned. But the second part, that is who is being affected, this approach is known as the object oriented approach. Okay, to manage the increasing complexity of our day-to-day life, we generally accept this object-oriented approach, and it is convinced. Okay, object-oriented programming organize a program around its data. This is the main part that you have to study upon. That is, a object-oriented program actually it organizes the programming logic around its data. This data is nothing but object. Okay, how to create the object, how to wrap down the object in a class, that we will study. Okay, whenever we will do it, there is also a set of well-defined interfaces to that data that we have to learn on. So these two are the paradigms from which we will study our object-oriented programming paradigms. Okay, this is the entry point. Now, why we will go for this object-oriented approach or the procedural approach? For that part, you have to know about that what is happening in real world around us nowadays. Basically, we all know that IT industries goes on very much diversity field, and there are lots of programming style that is introduced. And the very important part, that this programming style should not be confined within a single PC. Now think about the part, if you have a large number of application that you have to combine in a single unit, then what you will do? Definitely you will form a team, and you will just subdivide your tasks according to your team members. And the main thing, that the team members may not have the same environment. same network. Okay, that is the lacking that we face in procedural language or procedural programming approach. Because procedural programming approach thinks upon the part that what is happening. Actually, when an application is given to a programmer, if he use or if he or she use the procedural approach, that means he subdivide the whole function into sub-function. He think upon the part that is a collection of procedure. Okay. Now this collection of procedure or this collection of function, if we subdivide it around several team members and that team members have different environment, different network, then what will happen? As a whole, when we just want to combine it in a single unit, then we will face problem. From this point, there is a need for such a programming environment that can be applicable to any programming environment, any network. Through network, we can just put our code from one network to another network. That means from one team member to another team members. Because the team members may be geographically distributed among several locations. So this is the need, this is the necessity, this is the desire for introduction of the object-oriented programming approach. Okay, this is the main point, entry point. Now, there are several languages that can be developed using this object-oriented approach. Among those, we will study only Java. So we at least know about the part that the why when Java is introduced, who introduced Java, what is the first name of Java, like this portion. Any doubt from the first part that why we will study object-oriented programming approach, or what is the difference between the procedural and object-oriented programming approach? Any query? If you have any query or any doubt, you can tell me. Hello? Am I clearly audible to all of you?
Yes, madam.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Any query regarding the procedural approach and the object-oriented approach? Why we will study the object-oriented approach? Any query regarding this part? Sumon, any query regarding this part?
No, madam.
Why other are the silent in a silent mode? If you have any query or anything in your mind that why you will study this subject, what is the necessity of this subject, just ask me. Okay. Okay. So next we will study the history of Java or why Java is created basically. Actually, Java was conceived by some scientists. The name of those scientists is James Gosling, Patrick Nathan, Chris Watt, Edith Frank, and Mike Sedan at Sun Microsystem. Okay, they are known as this particular the small team of Sun Microsystem Lab is known as the Green Team. Okay, in 1991, this team is founded. Okay, now it took 18 months to develop the first working version of Java. Okay, this is the first working version of Java that is developed in 1991. Firstly, at the Green Team, this team, it was called this the Green Talk by James Gosling, and its file extension was .gt. Next, the Java was originally developed or originally designed for small embedded system in electronic appliance. Mainly for that is the microwave, like that. Okay, the set-top box, like that. In this electronic appliance, first Java was introduced, but it was too advanced technology for the digital cable television industry at that time. Okay, initially this Java language is known as a WAK, OAK. Okay, but later it is renamed as Java. It is renamed as Java in 1995. I am sharing with you this theory because sometimes in at interview session you may be asked that in which year Java was developed, what is the recent version of Java, how many years it took to take the top leading position in the professional industry, like that. That's why I am sharing this history with you, and I think all of you should know about it, the history of whatever you have learned. What is the beginning point, what is the starting point of that language, that thing I think you should learn about. Okay, so there is one question, another question that may be asked in the interview session, that what is the first name of Java language. Okay, so first name of Java, initially when the Java is developed, it is known as a WAK. Okay, OAK. Okay, and this is in the year of 1995. Later, this technology was incorporated by several other parts, that is known as the Netscape, which is basically the famous for networking purpose. Do you know about the Netscape, this technology? Do you know about that?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay. Later we will study, after completion of the syllabus, we can study that several other trending technology that is happening in our real world. At least for campus interview, you should know about the several software packages that is currently in a hot position. Okay, what are the technologies? Because Java has a immense scope to develop any application, whatever it may be, the mobile game, whatever it may be, your any small application program, that is the dynamic program, or any animation, or any small program that you can incorporate into some electronic appliance. We always go for the Java. Java, it looks like that it is the mother position now. Okay, in object-oriented paradigms, it holds the main position. There are lots of other programming languages recently developed using the object-oriented approach, but at first, this is if you want to know that object-oriented paradigms, you need to know the Java. That's why it is incorporated in your syllabus, that is from the background of computer science and engineering student. You should know about one language from procedural approach and one language for object-oriented approach. And for procedural approach, you have already studied C. You need to relate this procedural approach with object-oriented approach, that what is the difference, where is the similarities, where is the dissimilarities. Because everything we all know that we have to develop a program, and a program is nothing but the collection of code and data. Okay, now you can think about two paradigms, how you can develop this code. Okay, but at the end of that day, you need to develop the program. That means you need to have an idea that what you have to provide as an input and what you will get as an output. Now, the main thing is how quickly you can do that, how efficiently you can do that. From that perspective, you need to learn about these two programming languages. Okay, this is, I have already told you that why when this Java language basically initially called, and when it is renamed as Java. Okay, now there is another important part, that is the JDK and JRE. Later we will study it in depth, that what do you mean by the JDK and what do you mean by the JRE. In lab session, we have already studied that, you have already in your previous lab, you have just looked upon that there is a software package you need to install your PC, that is JDK. Okay, JDK first developed, it is a programming environment basically, that is released on 1996 by Sun Microsystem, obviously by Sun Microsystem, because Java was developed by the team that who are working in a Sun Microsystem. Now, what is the full form of JDK? This is the Java Development Kit. But you also know about another part that is known as a JRE. Okay, that is Java Runtime Environment. If you install only JRE to your system, you will be capable of running any Java program. But it is suggested to you that you should download the JDK version. Why you have to do it, that we will discuss in later part. Okay, why we will install JDK or not JRE basically. That for that portion you need to know about another part that is known as a JVM, Java Virtual Machine. Later we will study it that what is JVM, why we will not be capable of doing all the parts if we just install the JRE, Java Runtime Environment, not the JDK. Okay. But first, the theory part will be completed. That is the next part. That is the characteristics of Java. These are the basic features of Java. That is from started first point. This is the object-oriented programming language. Why this is object-oriented programming language? Because it follows the three basic paradigms of object-oriented programming approach. That is the encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. And there is also another part. Sometimes it is also known as the object-oriented features. That is known as a data abstraction. Okay. In our previous class, we have already started that what is the meaning of these three parts. That is the encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. Shortly, I just recall this portion that we'll study each and every portion in details. We have to study it. But mind it, I want to hear from every student of you that if I just ask that what are the basic features of object-oriented programming approach, then you should at least tell me the name of these 3 points. That is the encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. The first part, that is encapsulation, means it is a process through which we can wrap down the code and data in a class. This is the process for encapsulation. That's why it's named so, encapsulation. You need to cap you need to capsule these two part, that is the code and data. And whenever you are capsuling it, it is the process of encapsulation. Okay. The next part, this is simple. Why it is simple? If I just share you the theory part, then you will not understand it. Whenever you will be able to do some programming using this Java language, then you will understand that why this is simple. This part related to the second features of object-oriented approach, that is the known as the inheritance. Inheritance is a process through which you can reuse the code. Reuse the code of some section of the class or any method or anything that will be discussed in later, that which part you are capable to reuse and which member of your class member, if they are capable to reuse the whole part or whole class or not, that we need to discuss in later, discuss in details basically. But for the beginning point, just know it that inheritance means you are capable to reuse some code. Definitely, whenever you will be capable of reusing some code, then that means if you just write down a code one time, that code can be reused by several times. That's why it is simple. That means whenever you next time you want to develop this such like that program, then you can do it in a minimum amount of time. Okay. And the next part, that is known as the polymorphism. Polymorphism means you will be provided by a single interface, and using that single interface, you are capable of doing lots of tasks, multiple tasks, definitely of same category, but you are able to do multiple tasks using a single interface. I'm providing you one example, that is for addition. Addition of two integers, addition of one integers, one float, or two floating point number, two characters, like that. So these are the three features that you need to know of object-oriented paradigms. Any doubts of these three features? At least the basic idea. If you have doubts, you can tell me. Any doubts?
Ma'am, can you explain it with example?
Which portion? Encapsulation,
Polymorphism,
polymorphism?
encapsulation, yes, yes, inheritance.
Encapsulation, if you want to know the encapsulation, just let me do the about that. That is, this is a program. Okay. In this program, our main task is to print one particular string, that is hello Java. Okay, this is the task. For this task, here in this particular program, there is no separate data, that means real world entity. We are just wishing to print a particular string. So all the instruction is wrapped down, that means all the source code is wrapped down in a single unit, that is within this opening bracket and this closing bracket. And this encapsulation is done with the help of a class. Okay, this process is basically known as the encapsulation. Encapsulation is nothing but wrapping down your code and data in a single unit. Look at this point. You can write down this particular line in a separate part, this particular line in a separate part. Okay, these two parts can be combined later. But no, that cannot be happened. Whenever you are in a object-oriented paradigms, every instruction that belongs to a single application should be wrapped down in a single unit. And this single unit is known as a class. Later you can say, ma'am, that if I want to do another part, just like we want to do some arithmetic part, we want to do some logical part, any decision making part in your code, then what will happen? Whatever be the part, whatever be the application, that may be the arithmetic operation, that may be any decision making operation, everything you need to do within a method. And that method should be enclosed within this class. Everything, every instruction should be wrapped down in a single unit, that is the class. This process in Java is known as a encapsulation. But mind it, in this program, we have not created any object. We have not created any data. Okay, we'll study in later how the object is created for a class. Whenever we want to able to do that, at that time, the object as well as the method, these two parts will be wrapped down in a single unit, that is class. This process will also be known as the encapsulation. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, later we will study it in details that what are the other procedure. But mind it, encapsulation means everything you are encapsulating in a single capsule basically. Whatever be the part, your data, your object, your method. Basically, think about the part. A program is nothing but some source code, some instruction. But whenever we are thinking about the object-oriented paradigms, there is one portion that is known as a data, the real world entity. This is the main features of object oriented programming. So whenever you have lots of data in your hand and you want to process those data, so there should be some method. This method is just like the function of procedural language. Whenever you are asked to do some application, do some tasks, what you will do in your procedural language, definitely you will define a function, and within that function you will do the instruction. That is just for addition, you will do addition of two integers or two variables, basically whatever be the type of the variable. Okay, if I just ask you to arrange some number into the increasing order, ascending order, then what you will do? definitely you will write down the function, and within that function you will define an array. You will put down all the data within that array, and after you will put some logic to arrange that data item in an ascending order. So like that, this procedure, this process is happened in procedural language in a function, but in object oriented programming language we will call it as a method. And in procedural language, the particular procedure is enough to do the task. But in object oriented programming language, we will see in later that to make this method happen, you need to create an object. Until you create the object, the method will not be implemented. That we will study in later. Okay, so for the beginning, you can just think about this is the process for encapsulation.
Some
But
background voice is coming.
hello.
Some background voice is coming.
Now it is clear to you?
No, ma'am.
What happened?
Now it's okay, ma'am.
Now?
No,
Now
ma'am.
it's okay?
No, no.
Yes or no? I'm not getting to you.
No,
Mithilesh,
no,
your
ma'am.
sound is only coming.
Yes,
It's
ma'am. We
okay.
are not getting any background noise.
Okay. So Mithilesh, just check your system. Okay, next part, that is where we are. Okay, next part, look at this. These features of Java, now I am telling you only the theory part. Whenever you will do able to do the programming, this part is actually understandable by you. Okay, the first part that I have just discussed with you, that is the features of object oriented approach. Now if you just want tell me to share the view of inheritance and polymorphism right now with you, then it is not possible. Okay, because at least you need to know about that, how to create the object, how to create the method, how to access the method using object. When this part will be over, next we will study how to make inheritance. But for the beginning purpose, just know that the encapsulation procedure I can show you in it, because the first Java program is already done by you. But the next two part, that is the inheritance and polymorphism, at this time I can share you the only the theory part. Whenever we are able to do that part, that is creation of object, creation of method, accessing method using the object, then you will be able to understand the main glimpse of the inheritance as well as the polymorphism. Just think about that part, that polymorphism means you are defining a particular function, and using that function you can do many application. This is polymorphism. And inheritance means you can reuse the code. Okay, this is the part. Now the third part, that is known as a secure. Here this particular part is very important for Java. This is just because this part is already related to other part, that is known as the secure. Means just think about a banking application. Whenever you are going to a bank, that a bank has several hierarchies. Maybe there are some at the inquiry desk, maybe there are some the desks that is the for money withdrawal and money deposit. There is another section that is for net banking. There is another section that is for managerial section. Now if you are asked to implement that part, that is a software that will manage all the activity of a banking system, Just think about it. You have to provide several abstraction. What is the meaning of it? Several abstraction. If you at the inquiry desk, who are working at the inquiry desk, he or she need to know about the basic information of the bank, that in which desk the money withdrawal or deposit will be happen, in which desk net banking can be happen, for net banking which form is required, like that. That employee don't need to know about the account number or account details of a particular customer. Now move on to the next section, that is the deposit and withdrawal desk. At that desk, who are in that position, he or she will be able to look after your bank balance, account balance basically. Okay, it may be the RD, it may be the savings account, it may be the current account, but that employee is able to see the bank details of you. Now just think about the another portion, that is for net banking. For net banking section, the employee who are working at that section, he is also able to see the bank balance of you if you just ask for that portion. Also he has extra privilege that he can provide you some net banking facility, that means processing your request regarding net banking, that maybe he can be asked to submit your user ID, he can be asked to provide you the net banking password, like that. But this net banking facility should not be handled by the withdrawal or deposit section. And at the managerial, or if we can say that is the top level, manager have every right, okay, except seeing the password of your net banking, but he is able to check the user ID also, check your user ID whenever you are providing your details to him. But think about it, whenever you are asking to do that in procedural language, such type of abstraction, that means some portion is hidden and some portion is revealed to the employee, is it possible to procedural language? No, it is not possible. You have the local variable and you have the concept of global variable, but if you want to do that, such kind of providing the level of abstraction is very much complex in case of procedural language, because whenever you are just writing down the application or writing down the whole program, you are using several function, and providing that function such level of accessibility is difficult for procedural language. But if you learn Java in a proper way, then you can do it in a just single moment. You can providing the different accessing level just within a few seconds by providing the access specifier. There are several access specifiers that are available in Java, that is known as the public, private, protected, like that. By providing that part and by providing the inheritance concept, you can provide such level of abstraction to the employee. That's why Java is also known as the secure. Okay, you can provide it in a different way. Now platform independent, this part is very much important. Why Java is known as the platform independent? Well, I'll share you one part is known as the JVM. Okay, whenever you have just write down a source code in a notepad or whatever be in a virtual editor, there are three execution phases of the particular Java program. First of all, you need to write down the source code in a editor, in a notepad. It may be in a notepad, it may be in a virtual editor. Next thing, you need to compile that program, and after that you need to run that program. Okay, write program is known to you, how you can write the program. If you know the syntax, you can able to write the program. There is nothing important in it. The next portion that is important, that is already shared with you in your previous class, that is this Java C. Whenever you are written any Java program in a notebook or in a text file, then you need to save that Java file with the class name with extension .java. After that, you need to do the compilation procedure. For compilation procedure, javac is the command. This is the compiler for Java. Okay, this compilation, so the Java programming compilation will be done by javac compiler. This is normally a primary Java compiler. It is included in JDK. Okay, whenever you will do that, that is compile any Java program, then you can check in your PC that there is a file will be created that known as a .class file. Okay, if you just write down your previous day program, that is the hello world program, in a text pad, and save it in a whatever be the folder that you have chosen, and after that from that folder, if you run this, if you want to compile that program, then you will get one thing, that is, if your program name is example.java, then there will be another file that is known as a example.class. Okay, this .class file will be provided by the compiler. Now, what is this .class file? This .class file, there is another portion that you need to know, that is known as a Java virtual machine, that is the JVM. Okay, this JVM is very hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is the function for JVM, that is JVM will, that Java stands for JVM. It actually executes that bytecode that is generated by the compiler, that means that .class file. Now the function of JVM is to execute that bytecode that is provided by your compiler. Now this is the main point, just check this point every time whenever you learn Java, that is, every OS or every programming and environment has different JVM, but the output they produce after the execution of the bytecode is the same across all operating system. That's why Java is known as a platform independent language, as well as it is a portable language, that means it can run in every environment. Okay, so first thing, that you have written your source code in a Java programming syntax. After that, you have saved that code in a .java extension file. That .java extension file will be compiled by the Java compiler, Javac compiler basically. When the Javac compiler compile this file, it will convert it into a .class file. This .class file, there is a concept known as a bytecode. Okay, this is the bytecode. It is a highly optimized set of instructions designed to be executed by the Java runtime system. This Java runtime system includes JVM. This JVM will execute your bytecode. Okay, and whenever this JVM execute, this JVM actually, this is the interpreter. This JVM will execute the bytecode or the .class file. It will provide the file that will be run by any programming environment. Okay, but mind it from this portion that since every platform require different JVM, there is a confusion with the scientists and with the researchers that if different JVM is required for different operating system, that means It is also a platform dependent language. But the main fact is after you compile this program and the JVM will produce the output, this output can be executed to any programming environment, any operating system. So just think about the part that when the researchers are geographically located in different area, they are just doing one single application in different parts. If every part is developed with the Java programming language and they just compile it, after compilation, if they send this total code to the another location through some network, then the next person can be able to grab this code. That's why it is known as a platform independent language. Okay, as well as for this portion, it will also known as a portable. Okay, clear the concept of bytecode and JVM. This is very important part. If you want, I can repeat it once more. Any query?
Ma'am, please repeat it once more.
Okay. First, the first point, just keep in your mind. Whenever you compile the Java program, it is not an executable code. Okay, just think in this way that you have written source in your source code in a text file with and save it with extension .java. Just move on to this file. Okay, this particular portion is written in a text file. Okay, and you will save it in a simple.java. This is your source code. After that, you have to do two parts. First one, you have to compile it and then execute it. For compilation, what you will do, you will write javac simple.java. When you execute this command at your directory, you will see there is a extra file, and that file name will be simple.class. That file name is known as a simple.class. Okay, so this is your first code, source code. This is compiled. After compilation, it will convert it to simple.class file. Okay, now this .class file, like any procedural language, will not be executable. So what is this file basically? This file is known as a bytecode. So what is this bytecode? This bytecode is normally known as a optimized set of instruction that can be only executable by another part that is known as a JVM, Java Virtual Machine. How you will get this JVM? This JVM will include in a JRE section, Java Runtime Environment section. Okay, and that JRE section is included in the JDK part. So when you will compile that your program, then at the background this procedure will happen. Okay, first part, this is simple.java. After compilation, it will provide you simple.class. This simple.class is a bytecode. For executing that code, you need to use some interpreter, that is Java. In that interpreter, there is another part that is known as the JVM, Java Virtual Machine. Only JVM can interpret the bytecode or .class file. JVM is only capable to interpret or execute the .class file. Okay, so after JVM will execute that file or that interpreter will execute that file, then you will get the output. Now it is clear to you? Now
Yes, ma'am.
just
Yes,
write,
ma'am.
just read down this particular section. This is very important. What is JVM and what is bytecode? From source code, it will be converted to a .class file, which is nothing but a bytecode, and that bytecode will be executed by the JVM, Java Virtual Machine. Okay, when this bytecode will be executed by the JVM, you will get your desired output. Okay, and what is the importance of this JVM? This importance lies in this line. Why JVM is important? If you don't have JVM, then you can't be able to run your program. And this JVM, that's why I am talking to you that what is JDK and what is JRE. JRE is the Java runtime environment which includes JVM. Okay, but except that there are some other libraries that are also included in the JDK. That's why it is always suggested to you install JDK, Java Development Kit, the whole software package, not only JRE. JRE means it will provide you only the Java runtime environment. Clear? So this part is very important. I think the time is over. What is the time now? Okay, it's
11:50.
11:50. Okay, so I am ending this class today. Just read down the concept of bytecode. First of all, read down the point of procedural language, object-oriented language. What is the difference between two? And next part, that is very important, that is the features of Java. And next, from the features of Java, you need to know two important parts. One is JVM, another is bytecode. So in this portion, if you have any doubts, we will discuss in your next class. This is the heart of the Java program. That is what is GRE, what is JVM, what is JDK, what is bytecode. Okay, do it. If you have any problem, we will discuss in your next class. Just a minute, I need to stop. And one more thing, I have already sent you the invitation for this class. So please accept this class invitation in your TCS, and I will share all the semester assignment to you in TCS and try to solve it time to time. So at the beginning of this class, you will get all the assignment. You need to submit it through TCS and everyone have to submit it. Okay, so that's why I am asking you to join the TCS and class. Many of you have already joined, but also there is also some students who still now not joined. Shumon, Shumon, Shumon,
Yes, ma'am.
ask every student to join this class, okay? In TCS
Ma'am,
and
can you please, ma'am, one of the student, Ritu Malik, has by somehow she has rejected the proposal.
rejected
By
the
this,
invitation.
yeah. So
Okay,
send her once more.
okay,
So
okay, okay, okay. Just a minute. Tell her to mail me.
okay,
Otherwise,
ma'am.
I will not be able to do that. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome. So I am ending this meeting. Okay, just a minute. I need to take your attendance. Okay, you can leave now.